Okay. Our first step would be to open up the slideshow. I'm going to go through that and show you what we're going to do as the actual assignment. So Google Drawing Mosaic is what our assignment is called. And just some of the key terms is we have what's called positive space, which is the area of an artwork the subject occupies. So it's the main part of your art. And for instance, it could be a vase of flowers in a still life painting, a person's face in a portrait, or the trees and hills of a landscape. Those could be the positive space in your artwork. Negative space is the art or the space around and between the subject of an image. So everything around your main object that has like kind of nothing, like almost the background or the nothingness in your artwork. And I have that example of like the face vase, the black and white image here in the corner. Whether, depending on what you have your eyes focus on, the white area could be the positive space, and then you start to see the two faces facing each other, and then the black area becomes negative, which is just like the black background. Or if you flip your eyes to focus on the black, then you see more of like a old vase, or it almost looks like a candle holder as well. And then the white around it becomes nothing. But it gets tricky on the eye depending on how you have your eye focus. Then we're looking at mosaic. A mosaic is a picture or pattern produced by arranging together small colored pieces of hard material such as stone, tile, or glass. And I actually have 2 mosaics up in the windows. Those were done. It's on a big glass window frame. And then it's used little tiny pieces of colored glass. And then they use a type of grout to go in between to kind of hold. So that's what all that darker color in between each piece. Notice that there is space between each piece. They're not touching. They're not overlapping. There should actually always be a little bit of space in between them, okay, to help show your design. For this project, we'll be creating a mosaic using Google Drawings, and here are some examples of a koala and a turtle. So we're going to use an actual image from the internet, and then we're going to use the drawing tools on Google Drawing to replicate that with just tiny little shapes, okay? The colors we can try and match as best as we can, or the details, but we're just kind of creating some random geometric shapes. Here are some more examples. It's a how-to video. So what we're going to do first is we're going to open up Google Drawings, and we're going to actually set up our actual drawing. So we're going to hit the plus sign at the top, and we're going to open up a new tab. We are then going to go to the little waffle or 9 dots in the top right corner, and we're going to go to Google Drive. I then go over to the new button on the left side, click on new, move your mouse down to the word more, and go to Google Drawings, which should be right at the top. Let that open up. I'm going to go to Untitled Drawing in the top left corner, and I'm going to put my first initial, last name, and Mosaic, M-O-S-A-I-C. So M. Fairbanks Mosaic. First initial, last name, and Mosaic. Okay, I just click off anywhere so that it starts to save, so I know that that's the title of my document. All right, next step is I'm going to go back to Google Classroom, and under the actual assignment, Mosaic Animal Google Drawing, there are 4 slideshows, Animal 1, 2, 3, and 4. I want you to choose one of those to look at, and this literally is slides after slides of animal pictures from the internet. And I want you to find one that you like. So I'm going to give you a couple minutes to scroll through each one of those, or if you kind of find one right away that you like. And then just stay on that slide until you receive the next set of directions. Okay, once you find a picture that you like, you're going to click on that picture, and we need to copy it. What's the shortcut tool to copy from your keyboard? Control C. So the two keys, Control and C, click them at the same time, and I'm going to go over to my Google Drawing. And how do I paste it? Control V, as in Vicky, Veronica. Okay, so then that way it pastes on your Google Drawing. Then, if your image is flipped, there's a little dot here on either the right side, left side of your image, and I rotate it, and to hold it into proportion, I usually hit Shift key. I hold that while I spin it, so then it becomes nice and straight. Then I'm going to make sure I'm going to shrink down my image to make sure it fits inside my drawing box here or on the grid. Anybody know how to resize this paper for your Google Drawing? Anybody ever done that? This? It does. There's your shortcut. So then I can get it to actually fit to my image, so I don't have all that extra white space around my picture. Okay. Now, my next step is, so I'm looking back at the slideshow. I went to Google Drawings. I at least set up my spot of my Google Drawing. Let's create a background. Okay, so go back to your Google Drawing, and we're going to use the shape tool, which is a circle and a square overlapping. We're going to use a shape tool, and we'll probably use shapes and use the rectangle. And I'm going to draw a rectangle pretty much the whole size of my picture. And default is this baby blue and a border. So what we want to change colors, and you get to choose whatever color you want. And we're going to go to the paint bucket, so the fill color. And you can choose any color that you want to go behind your animal. Now, one fun thing that it does is you see at the top of that little window, there is a solid and a gradient. So if you would like to try a gradient behind your animal, there are some options there as well. And then I also want you to take the border color off, so the pencil. I click on that button and I go to transparent, and that way there is no border around my box. So choose a color, keep it either solid or gradient, and you can always change it later as well. Now this is covering up my photo. How do I make this go behind my photo? Sebastian. Right click, order, send to back. Goes all the way behind my image. Okay, yes. Yes, so Control, Shift, and then the up, down arrow to bring it forward or backwards. Okay, very good. Now, so we've created a background that was showing in a slideshow. We chose our subject, so we have an image. Now we're going to begin creating the mosaic tiles. We have to go to the line tool and go down to the polyline. So line tool is right here. It's a line with 2 dots on it. I hit the little down arrow for my extra window and I go down to polyline. And right now I feel like I'm really far away from my image, so I might want to zoom in. So I'm going to use my magnifying glass, and I either like the 100% or 200%. Now with the polyline tool, I know that I have that selected because if I look at my mouse, it is a plus sign versus an arrow. Now I can geometrically draw out different shapes to fill in, to begin filling in different parts of my animal. Now, with the polyline tool, you keep clicking and it makes new points. So if I click, 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 and I can click as many times as I want to, especially when I have like a rounded object like an eyeball or the beak. I can click as many times as I want to get the shape I want. You don't have to have it such hard edges. You can actually have it a little bit more rounded. And if I want to use a circle like for the eye, I sure can if I want it to be more of a round. Now right now it's not the color I want, obviously. It's defaulted to the baby blue in the border. So if I click on one of my shapes, I go up to the paint bucket and I look for the color I want. Now I can go wild colors, but I kind of want this to be realistic or at least look like my bird, but they don't have the green I want. So if I go down here and go to custom, I now have the whole rainbow of colors. But I first have to switch my hue over to green and then switch this over till I find kind of this green that I want. And then I click OK. And it now has been saved down here at the bottom of my color box. What's the other thing that I need to do with each one of these shapes? We learned it with the minion. What do you see on these that I probably should fix? Yeah, take off the border. So I'm going to go to the pencil, which is the border color, and go transparent. So right now, transparent, and then I want to change it to the colors I want. But I feel like even in this green, it might go a little darker. So I may want to adjust custom and make it a little darker here and try and kind of match some of my greens. Now, when I want to keep drawing again, I just click on my polyline and notice that I'm not filling this entire shape, like his entire beak with one shape. I'm going to use a couple of them. We want that mosaic look, so it looks like it's broken up into different little glass pieces. And if I don't end it where I started it, it turns into just a line. So I need to make sure where I start clicking, I remember that I am going to end it where I started it. Okay. So I'm not doing the background, I'm only doing the animal. Okay. So as I keep building through begin creating the mosaic tiles. We're continuing through. Keep adding all of your different pieces. Using your paint bucket to choose colors, take off the border, get it to fill in with as many different shapes or little pieces as you can. You can get detailed with the eyes or the nose, the mouth, and then you are going to attach this Google drawing on Google Classroom. So when I go to the assignment, I go to add Google Drive, find your drawing and attach it. Do not take a screenshot. And then when I'm completely done, so I can check myself and see how I'm doing, I can click on the actual photo, delete it, and see how it's starting to look on the background. Now, how do I bring my image back? Control Z. Undo. Undo what I just deleted. So I don't want to, because I don't want to move it. Because if I move it somewhere and then I have to try and line it back up, and that gets really annoying. So I just click on it, backspace for delete, and then Control Z to bring it back. And so I can check myself for that couple seconds to see how it's looking. Okay. So before I turn it in, I have to delete that picture and then add it to Google Drawing or Google Classroom here to the assignment. Here is my finished one that I have completed, as I did a bird with lots of colors, and then I just did a green gradient background. Okay.